be like them when you just could be you? Why be like them when you just could be you? You can't worry about what they doing, you gotta be you. You can't worry about what they doing, you gotta be you. Be you, be you, be you, be you.
Good evening, and welcome to another episode of the BU Podcast. This is Tanya Harris, and I am your host. Today's guest is Miss Angela Flake. How you doing, Miss Angela?
I'm doing well, my sister. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what is it that you do?
Well, you know what? When you say that, I always tell my daughters, I said, before I became a mother, my name was Angela. So I do have a story. And, you know, Angela is a woman that has always loved life. I've always loved motivating and encouraging people. Even since I was younger, I've always loved waking up and embracing a new day. So it was kind of like it merged together with me as far as being who I am, being someone that just loves to kind of take the initiative. So it kind of merged together when I first realized that I wanted to do writing and actually giving writing a platform in my life. So all of that with me kind of being who I am and enjoying my own journey, writing just came natural because I got to do exactly what who Angela is, which is motivate and encourage and inspire people. And so I've really, really started to enjoy kind of settling in as far as writing and being an author.
Okay. So how did you get started in writing?
You know what? I have always, and it's so beautiful when you get asked these questions because it makes you think back. I have always been writing. I wrote my first book, like a mystery, when I was in elementary. And I was thinking about that the other day because I had to write up something about me. And I remember writing that in elementary school. And so not even realizing from writing to doing skits, starting up organization, just events that I was doing, all those things along my journey started kind of connecting to me as far as I think I want to really start to write and actually publish books. And so once again, it just kind of merged, but I had been doing some form of writing, some form of thinking about pencil to paper, even at a young age. And so it kind of followed me all the way. And really, I really started to think like, okay, I really want to start writing. That was several years back. And so I published my first book in 2019, but I actually had written the book probably about 2.5 years before that. So it's been a constant journey. It's been a constant journey of love for me with really just kind of connecting. Like I said, it's been all of my life just learning and loving to do that. And then finally saying, I think I want to be an author. I think I want to take this to another level and not just, you know, journal all my life and write at night. You know, ladies, we sit up and write in our journals. And so I wanted to kind of take it to a different level. So it's been really a love of mine to actually kind of pursue this and see it come to life in my own life.
Okay. How many books have you written?
You know what? I have written, I published 3, but I've actually written several. I have some that's sitting kind of like, when are you going to pick me, you know? So I've written probably maybe, so I published 3, probably about 5. Okay. And, you know, as a writer, things are constantly going through your mind. You're constantly thinking about new things that you want to write about or something sparks you. But yeah, so I published 3 and I've written probably about 5. So I'm hoping to kind of touch base on some of those that are sitting and waiting on me to kind of touch them again and get started on them.
Okay, where do you get your ideas from writing?
Anywhere. I think writers, we're inspired by so many different things. And so whether you could be sitting in a car waiting on your daughter to come out of school, and I've been inspired. I'm working on a children's book right now, and I saw a commercial. I was sitting down, I saw a commercial about a family, about just some kids laughing. Mm-hmm. And it just, all of a sudden, everything dropped in me. And I was like, I know what I want to write my children's book about. So we get inspired by so many different things. I think a lot of things that we don't realize is we get inspired through our trials, through our tribulations, through a lot of things that we go through, and we're able to kind of use those things as tools, and we write about those things. Many times the books that we love are relatable because we're like, wow, I've been through that, or I know what she's talking about. I know what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. And so I get inspired by so many different things. Being out in nature, mm-hmm. I love walking, my meditation time, hanging out with different people. Like I said, it could come from anywhere. So I've really not tried to kind of close that in, because as a writer, your journey, you're just open to so many different things. And so that's what I love too. Just when you want to be creative, it can come from anywhere.
Okay. Do you ever get writer's block?
I do. I think sometimes when we feel like, okay, I should be writing. Mm-hmm. And so it is a bit different, because I do feel like that. And then other times I'm like, okay, there are seasons. And a lot of times as writers, we got to realize that there are seasons that we go through, mm-hmm. that you may not be writing. But as you're continuing down your journey, things are going on inside of you. And at the right time, at the right place, that thing will rise up, and you're like, oh, I want to write about this, or, oh, I want to pick this back up again. So sometimes I think that we could be hard on ourselves as writers, because we feel like we always need to be having some content out, or we need to be having a book out, especially if you have readers that follow you and really look forward to the things that you put out for them. And so it can be a bit intimidating when you feel like, okay, I'm not writing. I should be writing. What's going on? And so a lot of times when I do feel like that, I just take a couple of deep breaths and just realize that even in that experience, you're preparing yourself, because writing isn't something that for writers, I mean, at least for me, mm-hmm. it's not in a closet. It's always in the forefront. It's always something on my mind, and it's a part of me. And so it's not left. But once again, when we're going down our own journey, I think that we can kind of feel, like I said, intimidated a bit, but it's all in the process. It's all in the process. So eventually you'll connect back with it. And before you know it, honey, you be writing and not being able to stop. So I just appreciate all of those different platforms and plateaus and things that I go through with writing. So I don't know if I answered that or not.
So my next question is, do you have any suggestions, or what would you tell someone that wants to become a writer? Or write a book, rather.
Yes, just start. Just really start. And I talked to a young lady, and she was having some challenges because she knew she wanted to start writing, and she couldn't really kind of get into the writing. And I asked her what she did. And so she said she had some social media handles. And I said, well, maybe it's not meant for you to actually write, but maybe you need to just focus on your speaking and your talking that you're doing right now. And maybe that'll continue, maybe that will merge you into your writing. So sometimes I think that we can kind of get stuck on so many different things, but our answers sometimes are right in front of us. They're right in front of us. And so, to encourage, I guess, someone that wants to write, just start where you are. Start with what you love to do. If you know that you want to write a long, a novel, or maybe you want to write a children's book, or you want to self-publish, maybe start looking up those things. Maybe get into some, on Facebook, there's so many different groups that you can get into. So getting plugged in, that'll give you that energy that you need, because you are going to want to surround yourself with a community of people, because you kind of go on your own journey. Writing, you're on your own journey, and so you need that support system. So it's not necessarily just about, okay, I want to get out of pen and paper and start writing, but sometimes people need to be encouraged. Sometimes people need to kind of look and see that there are people out there that are going through the same thing, that are having some of the same challenges that you are, because, you know, life happens. And so I just would encourage you to start where you are and enjoy that process. Because if you want to write, it's going to come, it's going to merge together, and you'll be doing exactly what it is that you want to do.
Okay. What is your favorite book and why?
You know what? I am an old school reader. I love books that you will find at the Goodwill. You will find at a garage sale. I am in love with some of the books that you wouldn't think you'd be reading right now. So one of the books that sticks out to me that I read, this was in 2006. It was Fit for God, and it was a book by Lavita Weaver. And actually I did not know she was still on Facebook, still doing and loving what she does. And that book was the first book where I learned about being an emotional eater as a woman. And that has stuck with me to this day, her book. I'm actually reading Michelle McKinney-Hammond's. I don't know if you can see that. And this is the Diva Principle. And when I say these books have been written, these ladies have written these books a long time ago, and it's still good content for me. This Michelle Hammond, she's actually on Facebook, still living her dreams, still doing what she loves to do. And so I'm always inspired by that. And so I really try to really kind of hone in on women of color and Black authors. And so that is something that I love to do. So those two books. I actually, there's one more book. It's called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. That, you know, sometimes you have to chew the meat and spit out the bones. And so some books, you know, you got to just kind of take what you can. And so it may not be for everyone kind of his philosophy, but the four agreements that he shares with you, they are hands down. You can use them 10 years ago, 20 years from now. And so that book was one of the first books I read, and this was decades ago, and it's on Amazon like for $5. Yeah, so those books that you would probably, like I said, you would see at Goodwill, them is the ones I'm looking for. And so those three books right there are ones that I remember. And like I said, I'm reading the Diva Principle right now, and so many good nuggets in there. So I just appreciate Black authored women, and I really try to focus in on those.
Okay. Now I have a question. You have a book you've written that's out now for children. What is it? Color Me In? Is that what it is?
Yes, Don't Color Me In. Yes.
Okay, tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, now you're gonna get me excited, because I have always wanted to, like I said earlier, I'm working on a children's book, but this is a book for our young African-American preteens. And I've always loved connecting with youth and kind of speaking into youth life. So the Don't Color Me In, I started writing that last summer. And it's a poetry book, and it's really geared to inspire our young Black African-American young teens to embrace words. Poetry has been a part of our Black culture. I mean, it is our culture. And so poetry is words. And so as a writer, that's what you bring out, words. And so the poems I had fun with writing them. I did a poetry read. So that's on my Facebook page. I did that and put that out yesterday. And so I did a poetry read, just to kind of give an example of what you're going to see when you get the book. But it is a book of poems, and it's really geared to try to get our young teens to be critical thinkers. So inside of each poem, I asked a few questions, and really just to open up dialogue, and to encourage them to be themselves. Your color is not anything that you should be ashamed of. And so I really geared it for our African-American teens, just with so much that's going on and so much that we see and we continue to see. I wanted our young teens to be inspired by words and not be afraid of poetry, and not be afraid to express themselves, and not be afraid of their culture, who they are, where they come from. We have some beautiful things in our culture. And so I hope that my book, it's a small read. It's about 15 poems in there. And then I add 2 more extras at the end. And so it's really just to kind of encourage them and to kind of spark some creative thinking and some interest in them with words and with poetry.
Okay, that's wonderful.
So I'm excited about that.
Good. Do you have any events, specials going on right now?
Actually, I just did an event in Little Rock Saturday. I went down and hung out with a food truck there and gave out some free copies of the Don't Color Me In. And we had a good time. And so I'm looking forward to doing some things with that release. So nothing set in stone, anything right now with that. Okay. No events really planned right now. I'm going to be doing a few things in February, but nothing, like I said, on my schedule.
Okay. So any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. If you are considering, or if you are deciding to want to be an author or decide that you want to do children's books, I just want to encourage you, if you are a woman who has thought about writing, because I think a lot of times when we see women in our communities doing something, it does inspire us to say, hey, I thought about doing that. I just want to encourage you to go ahead, go for it, get started. Like I said, I just launched my first book in 2019. Okay. I am, I almost forgot my age. I am 47. So I didn't get started, excuse me, I didn't get started with this at an early age. And so I'm really embracing it. I'm really enjoying my journey. So I just want to encourage you, and maybe it's not even being an author. Maybe it's whatever. Maybe you want to start your own business. Maybe you want to start a book club. Maybe you want to do better in motherhood or lose weight, whatever that thing is. I just really want to encourage you to go ahead and get started. It will definitely change your life, whatever that thing is. And I just want to let you know that as women, we do need each other, and find that support system that you need, because as you go down your journey, we all know it's going to be challenges. It's going to be things that come, but the process, getting through that process, that makes a difference, because a lot of times we don't talk about the process. We see, you see me when I hold up my book and it's launched and everything is great, but there's a process. You know, no one saw when I invested my money and the lady left and I didn't know what to do, and I took out my savings, and you know, it's a process. And so I really want to encourage you, if you're listening to this, to remember that you are going through an experience, and don't forget that. And it may not be pretty. It's going to be ugly sometimes, and you're going to feel like you're by yourself. But nevertheless, we as women, we have a purpose. And I want you to fulfill that purpose, whatever it is. So I thank you for having me on here, and thank you for letting me share my thoughts and share some things that are going on with my books.
Thank you. So if anyone wants to purchase a book, where can they find you? Are you on social media?
Yes, I am. You can actually go to my website,
okay,
and that is www.hiswordsmatter.com. Okay. You can go on there. You can find me on Facebook at Angela Flake. You can find me on Instagram at Angela Flake 40. And usually on Facebook, you're going to see a lot of the things that I'm doing. Also on Facebook, you're going to, if you put in my name, you'll probably get my new page that I've established. It's called Inspiration with Angela. And so you're going to see a little more in-depth because I have, like I said, it'll take you to my website and some of the things that are on there. So yes, so Facebook, Instagram, and my website that's active.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank you for being on the show, and much success to you.
Thank you.
All right. As always, I salute your business. Thank you, Ms. Flake, and have a great day.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all your watchers.
Thank you.
Why be like that when you just could be you?